I was also super interested in studying the shoulder because everybody studies lower limbs because it's so simple. They're not
What was that again?
It's so simple. They're not gonna like that I say that, but yeah, it's pretty simple. Like the knee is a hinge joint only with 1 or 2 degrees of freedom. However, the shoulder has got this wide range of motion, this huge potential instability in the shoulder.
Welcome to Inside the Shoulder. I'm with Max Lavaill. I'm Kenneth Cutbush. Hi, Max. Welcome.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for the invitation and the introduction.
Now, for everyone here, can you say your name in French?
Yes, sure. I can. You can say Maxence Lavaill.
Wonderful.
But just everyone calls me Max here in Australia. That's much easier.
What do they call you in France? The full name, Maxence?
Maxence, yeah.
Maxence.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my French name. I don't know why they would shorten it.
So you're French?
Yep, I am.
Where were you born?
So I was born in the northeast of France, in a kind of a small city called Châlons-en-Champagne, so in the Champagne region. It's very close to Reims, if you know. It's like the biggest city in the area.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What did your parents do?
Both my parents are GPs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've always been in the medical world since I was a child.
Yeah, right. So just tell everyone what your current position now is. You're down at the Queensland University of Technology.
Yep. So I'm a researcher. I'm actually doing a postdoctoral fellowship as part of QUT, so in Brisbane, in Australia.
So a long way from a little country town in France.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I moved to Australia, I think 8 years ago. To do my studies, my PhD, and then I'm working now in Australia because I love it. Yeah.
So why Brisbane?
Why Brisbane?
I know why Brisbane.
That's a good question. Well, Brisbane is wonderful, but the real reason is that I think in 2017 I just went on holidays in Australia with my parents-in-laws, and we visited a lot of different cities in Australia: Sydney, Darwin, Brisbane, Melbourne. And really, Brisbane was the one where I felt the best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's like the vibe over here that I really like. And I just really wanted to live here.
Yeah, I love Brisbane. It's just got that nice balance of being easy to get around in, but still having all the advantages of a big city.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it.
All right. So you've just been awarded. Tell me about the award you just got.
So... yeah, I was awarded at the last ICORS conference, so the International Combined Orthopaedic Research Societies Congress that happened very recently in Adelaide. And I just won the Best Early Career Researcher Award for the best presentation over there.
Very impressive. Because that's quite a big deal in our world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And I really think that's the kind of awards that you need to get to really launch your career. Yeah. So I was really grateful.
I mean, how many people are competing for that award?
Well, we were only 6 of us presenting on the day. Yeah. But before that, there was a selection that was done with all the research abstracts that were submitted to the conference. So a bit hard to say, maybe 10, 20 people, I don't know.
I think more than that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right. And you're a postdoc at Queensland University of Technology.
Yep.
So explain to everyone what that is.
A postdoc, so that's the position that you get just after you graduate from a PhD. It's usually the transition between being a student and doing a PhD to getting a full-time ongoing position at the university. So I'm still in this transition phase, but I'm working my best to get to this ongoing academic position.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm on the good track for that.
Yeah, you are. We know that you're a star. So how did you go down that path? You know, young kid growing up in a little town in northern France. Yep. What happened?
So my PhD is in biomechanics, and basically I've always been interested in biomechanics, like especially like understanding how the body moves with like the different joints, the muscles or bones are articulating together, and how we create motion by contracting those muscles. And I think that started with when I was doing a lot of sports in high school. So I was doing track, I was running the 400 meters, and I was just passionate about like understanding how we can optimize performance, how we can like better optimize the range of motion to run faster, to run longer, and all of this. So I think that started here, my passion for biomechanics, and then I just studied engineering, like biomechanical engineering for this, and that a bit randomly led me to doing a PhD in Australia, and now where I'm at. So yeah.
So the passion of improving human performance.
Yeah, and understanding how we can improve it. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're still going down to the track?
No, unfortunately not. Well, you know, when you study, you don't have a lot of time to do everything else. So I was really focused on my PhD, and I think that's where I stopped doing this, because that just took a lot of time. I think I was running like 12, 15 hours a week, something like that. Yeah, but I'm still doing some sport, like just casual.
Do you
running.
say running 12 or 15 hours a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So how much are you running now?
1-2 hours a week if I'm good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tell us about your PhD.
Mm-hmm.
What was the title? What was the topic?
Yep.
And then tell me about the struggle. You know, that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I've looked into it. I haven't done one.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. So my PhD was about understanding shoulder biomechanics by using musculoskeletal modeling. So it's using computational models, computational algorithms, mathematical equations to understand how we create motion. So that's really linked to what my passion was about at the very beginning. So with this PhD, I tried to. So we developed tools to understand how muscles can create motion around the shoulder, and especially quantify those forces. So those muscle contractions, how this is related to the force that's supplied on the shoulder bones, and because of that, thanks to that, we can also try to understand pathologies and sometimes optimize the performance of athletes as well. That wasn't part of my PhD. I was focused on the orthopedic side. But yeah, that's everything we can do with modeling.
Now, one of the reasons why that research was so interesting for me was because of the complexity of the shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's very different to, say, the knee or the hip joint. Yep. And tell us a little bit about that, the complexity of the shoulder that you were looking into and expanding our knowledge on.
Yeah, sure. So I was also super interested in studying the shoulder, because everybody studies lower limbs because it's so simple. They're not
what was that again?
It's so simple. They're not going to like that I say that, but yeah, it's pretty simple. Like the knee is a hinge joint only with 1 or 2 degrees of freedom. However, the shoulder has got this wide range of motion, this huge potential instability in the shoulder. So that's what I really like about studying the shoulder. And because of that, not a lot of people study it. So there was still a lot of room for improvement, for studies, for research.
What I found fascinating about your research was that you look like the knee joint, the shoulder has the glenohumeral joint, the joint between the humerus and the scapula. Mm-hmm. But the shoulder is so much more, because you've got the scapula moving over the thorax, which is a very different joint. It's a shoulder blade that's moving within muscle, over muscle, completely different. Yep. And your research was starting to touch on the understanding of that dynamic. Yep. And that was what was so interesting about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's such a fascinating joint, the scapulothoracic joint, and the scapula in itself is my favorite bone of all. Like it's really, really cool, very unique in function and in shape. So yeah, that's what I really like about this field. Like just you're diving into the unknown. Like not a lot of people have studied that. and there's a lot to do.
You're right.
Yeah.
Now, you've had some big grants now. You're starting to get into the, actually really get known. Your research is starting to get respected, and you've had some big grants. Tell me about some of the big wins you've had there.
Yep.
I mean, grants is the big thing in research, isn't it? Because without a grant, you can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where
you're not even employed.
That's it, exactly. That's where the money comes from, like from grants, from
to actually pay for your day-to-day living expense.
Exactly.
For you to live.
Yeah.
Your income.
So I was actually very fortunate with all the grant that I got since I started my my career as a researcher. So in the last 3 years, I got some internal grants at QT. So some grants that were like worth $20,000 to study, to expand on my research on scapular dynamics, scapular motion, and on improving the models, the shoulder models that we have. And one of the big grant, like the biggest grant that I got a year and a half ago was a Advanced Queensland Fellowship.
From the Australian government? So Queensland
government?
From
the Queensland state,
government. Yeah. So a great initiative from the Queensland government.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really enjoy that. And that's the reason why I'm here and still employed at QT, actually. So very grateful. And this project is in collaboration with one of our industry partners, Stryker. So
yes, big multinational medical company.
Yes,
with fantastic products. Yeah. So what's the size of that grant? People would have no idea.
So I've been awarded 160,000 Australian dollars for a global, like an overall project worth like $400,000.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, so it keeps you going with your research for a bit longer.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that was really good to get that at such a early stage of my career. Yeah.
So the PhD, what's the struggle there? How many years? How much time did you put into it?
Yeah.
Was it all consuming?
Yeah, definitely. Well, a PhD is a journey in itself. Like you never know where you go when you start it. You never know where you're gonna end. Of course, you always have a plan, like a rough plan at the beginning of your PhD, but it's never gonna be exactly what you will achieve within 3 or 4 years. So I think that's the biggest struggle during a PhD. Yeah. So you need to adapt yourself all the time. You have to bounce back when you've got a problem, when one of your results are not what you expected, and all of this, and that just changes your plan all the time.
Well, the idea of the PhD is you're finding new knowledge, something that people don't know.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't know where that's going necessarily.
Exactly.
You think you know where it's going, I guess.
Yeah, everybody would have a PhD if we just redo like everything that has been done already. So yeah, that's also the big struggle. Well, I wouldn't say big struggle for a PhD to explore the unknown, but it's actually what excites me in a PhD. Like you never know where you're gonna go.
You're right. And tell people about your day-to-day life as doing a PhD. What does it look like day to day, each week?
Yeah.
How much of the day? Where are you? What are you doing? How many hours are you doing?
Yep. During my PhD, I was lucky enough, and that's actually what I wanted to do with my PhD. I did a lot of experiments. So I had participants in the lab, so in a motion capture lab, where I placed markers on them and recorded their motions. So that was maybe I would say 1/3 of my PhD was doing that. Well, especially like the first year and a half of my PhD, I was fully focused on setting up the experimental protocol for all of my experiments in the lab, and then just spent 1 or 2 months full time in the lab doing that. That was the first half of my PhD.
So how many hours in a day when you're running one of those labs?
Oh, I don't know, like 8-9 hours. That's like 2 hours of setting up the lab, preparing everything, and then just 2 hours with the participants in the lab. Then you need to wrap up everything to set up everything for the next participant that's coming. Yeah. So that's quite a lot of time. That was the first part of my PhD. Was full on the experimental captures, and the rest, so some of the rest of my PhD was about writing my thesis, writing scientific papers. Was also like reading a lot of papers, a lot of the literature, because as we said before, we don't want to do the same as what people have done already. So,
you've got to build on what's been done before.
Exactly. Yeah. As well. Yeah.
How many publications did you do?
During my PhD, I did 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's big.
That was the right number to have my thesis published by publication. That's what we call that at QUT.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great. I was fortunate enough to have that. And then since my PhD, I published maybe 10 or other papers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's very productive.
Yeah, it is. Well, you need to be productive to stay in the game.
How's your H-index looking?
Still growing. Yeah. I'm at 5 at the moment.
Yeah, right. So well, that's good.
Growing. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Especially in a field like ours, like in biomechanics, which is kind of a small field. So you need actually a lot of publications to grow your H-index. Not like fields like robotics, AI, these kind of things where you can get like thousands of citations pretty easily. Well, pretty easily.
From one paper?
Yeah.
I'll say H-index goes up a lot more with that, does it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about the H-index.
That's
because really, you guys live and die on your H-index to some extent, don't you?
Yes, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't. The H-index is kind of a weird metric. So for those who don't know about this, it's like the number of citations you've got for the same number of publications. So, for example, if you've got 5 publications with 5 citations, you've got an H-index of 5. In my field, an H-index of 5 is like good for early career researchers, whereas professors will have maybe 40, 50 as an H-index when they're good. But yeah, like what I don't like about it is that everybody lives for the H-index and they don't really focus on like good research or not as much as they should do. Which is a bit of a problem. So
I guess what you're talking about is someone can, spend their time researching and developing and learning something new, and then do one paper at the end of that. But what really they need to be doing is producing papers during that process to build that H-index.
Yeah,
and it is distracting because it's very time consuming to write it, write a scientific paper.
Exactly.
Tell everyone what a citation is. People won't know.
A citation, that's when some other researchers or anybody like within the field cites your work. Yeah. So it's like they publish another paper and they back up their results or their background of the research on your research.
Yeah. So the process is you submit you do your research, you then write it up in a scientific paper, which is a set format, and you submit it to a major journal to be published. It has to be then peer reviewed, so it goes out to other scientists in your field that then criticize your work, often heavily.
Yes, but that's good.
Yeah, and then it does get published, and then if your research, your publication is then mentioned in another scientific publication as with them saying that they've gone back and looked at your work, or they're building work off what you've done, that's then a citation.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing about the citation too is that the citations are worth more for your H-index depending on the prestige of the journal they're published in.
Yeah,
so like Nature, which is one of the big journals, it has a, what is it called? The index, the power index.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So all the journals have
the impact factor
related to them. Yeah. And that impact factor is very important because that multiplies the value of your citation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's a pretty complex thing.
It is.
So it's not just the number of publications you're doing, but it's whether where your paper was actually interesting to other researchers that they've used it in their work.
Yeah.
That's when the H-index starts to grow very significantly.
Yep. That's it. Yeah.
And the H-index is a crazy thing, isn't it? I've heard that a Nobel Prize winner will often have an H-index of 300 or 400 or something astronomical.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah. No, that's crazy. But what I really don't like about it is that you're getting judged about the H-index.
Yeah.
And so just people are gonna focus on publishing more papers to get more citations, but the research, like the level of research is not there. Like they could just focus on one paper which is high level. No, they would rather publish 10 papers on the side which are for like very little pieces of research instead. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but like that's the world of science that we live in at the moment.
Sure is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing for you guys is too, without a grant, you're like unemployed, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And you have no job.
Especially as a postdoc, as a postdoctoral fellow, like that's quite an unstable position to be at. So that's why a lot of people that are doing research, that are in academia, are just giving up on their dream to be an academic and just and going into the industry. It's just like there's not a lot of positions for the number of people that want to do academic research.
And the grant writing. Tell me about writing grants. Tell me about that.
Oh, God.
These are grant applications.
Yeah, they're grant applications. So usually...
So tell me about that grant application for the grant that you got just a year or two ago.
Yep.
Tell me about that application.
So the grant that I got a year and a half ago, I actually had to write a grant application maybe 2 years and a half ago. So like 1 year before I got the grant. You really need to start to think like as soon as possible about what you want to put in the grant. But because of that, you also need to be aware of what they expect you to write in that grant proposal. So for the Advanced Queensland grant that I got, it was a very specific field that they wanted to fund. So yeah, it really starts early in the process. You need to think about what you want your research to be, what you want to put in the grants, and who you want to collaborate with. That's also very, very important, and that's going to play a major role in if you get the grant or not. And then once you've got all of this, your collaborators, the ideas, and the focus that you want to have in your research, just takes a lot of time to write.
How much time?
It takes, you can spend maybe...
Have you thought back how many hours you spent on that grant application?
I don't want to.
Do you have a number on it?
I don't want to.
Hundreds.
But hundreds definitely. So I think the first draft of the grant application, I may have spent like 2 weeks full time writing it, and then that was only for the first draft. But I think we had like 10 different drafts overall, or even 15 drafts overall before we were actually happy with the content and that we deemed that it was good for submission.
So maybe a month of your life?
Oh, I think 2 months.
2 months of your life.
Yeah.
And you may not get the grant. I mean, what's the success rate for these applications?
Yeah, that's also the depressing thing about it, is that you spend so much time on writing grants and you don't even know if you're gonna get it. I think this one was a 30% chance of getting it, like a 30.
So 2 months of your life, and there's a 30% chance of getting being successful.
That's very high for grant applications.
Yeah, I've heard generally 10% is more is what you should be thinking.
Exactly. Yeah, the most competitive grants in my field are the ones funded by the Australian Research Council, the ARC, and those ones are like 5 or 10% success rates. So
and that's how we came to work together, because you're part of the ARC ITTC grant that we got down at QUT.
Exactly.
And you're part of that research group we have.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so the ARC Training Center for Joint Biomechanics, that was funded, I think, 4 years and a half ago, which is unfortunately coming to an end right now. But that's a great time to think about all the projects we can do together, because that's the transitioning to a new era of what we want to do in research in shoulder biomechanics.
So what's next for you then? What's the next research area that you're going to go into? What's the next project?
Yeah.
What are you excited about?
So I just got a grant from QUT to work on to research a very specific field in shoulder orthopedics. A very specific pathologies, which is called scapular dyskinesia, which obviously you know a lot about. So it's when you have an abnormal function of your scapula. Following a treatment or pathologies. So we want to understand a little bit more this pathology because at the moment in the literature, a lot of people it's quite a controversial topic where a lot of people don't know if dyskinesia of the scapula is a cause or a consequence of pathologies and treatments.
Yep.
And one of the major challenges of studying the scapula and scapular motion is that the scapula lies under a lot of is underneath a lot of soft tissue layers. So the skin, muscles, fat layers, all of this, and we actually don't have a good way to objectively track and quantify the scapular motion in the lab. So
we don't understand it very well, do we?
Yeah.
So the people listening, patients, they'll be lifting their arms up overhead, and one scapula is doing the normal rotation that it normally does, and the other one's jumping all over the place, and we've got no idea why. Well, very little idea why. It's all on motor control, muscular control, but the motor patterns are so disordered, so deranged, that the patient then has a very significant functional limitation with their shoulder.
Yeah, right.
And whether it comes first and then have other problems, I certainly, it's not something I see all the time. I would see maybe one patient every couple of months and with a true scapular dyskinesis.
Yep.
Dyskinesis obviously means abnormal movement.
Yep.
And one I remember particularly was a lady. She had injured herself as a flight attendant, putting bags up into an overhead bag, cupboard or locker, and she'd been unable to lift her arm above shoulder height, not even to shoulder height, for maybe 5 or 6 years before. And MRI scans, everything was normal.
Yep.
And what she'd done was actually she'd had a subluxation event. She had underlying ligaments laxity or hypermobility, and she'd stretched up her anterior capsule. And when I took it to theatre, her shoulder was obviously just dropping out straight up the front. It was actually sitting out of joint just normally.
Right.
And I placed 2 anchors, tightened up her capsule, pulled her back into line, and then we rehabbed it. Rehab was long, but she's now got a shoulder that lifts up overhead. And it wasn't, she had multiple opinions saying the scapular dyskinesis was primary or the root cause.
Yep.
In fact, in this case, the scapular dyskinesis was secondary, was due to the fact that she had an unstable shoulder, and the scapulum muscles were trying to cope with the fact that the ball and socket joint was subluxing.
Yeah, right.
And she went from really having a rotten life, unable to work. She's back at work. She's doing everything she wanted to do. Yeah, and
That's
it's
great.
pretty cool to be able to do that.
Exactly.
And if we could understand better which ones are primary or secondary, instead of spending 6 years seeing multiple specialists, she could have had the surgery right at the beginning and fixed that shoulder way earlier. Yeah. So that's the exciting part of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And so that's going to be in 2 steps. Like we first want to focus on getting better, more accurate scapular motion data. So we're going to use one of the very fancy lab they've got in the US. So we're partnering with the University of Utah, where they've got a dual fluoroscopy lab. So basically you get like two X-rays of the person at a very high frequency and doing motion like dynamically. And then you can reconstruct in the position of your humerus and scapula in space with an accuracy of less than a millimeter and less than a degree, which is incredible, isn't it? Which has never been reached by any other method. So that's like the state of the art at the moment. Yeah. So we want to get like very accurate scapular data to then feed into our computational models and try to understand a bit more the actions of muscles and how muscles are creating or being affected by the dyskinesia. So are they being too stretched? Are they contracting too much? So this is, I think, how we can better understand dyskinesis.
Yeah, I think pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like when you presented the idea that that lab is amazing that they've got, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is.
Now, how much does artificial intelligence, AI, come to play in what you're doing now?
Obviously, AI is everywhere, so we need to use it. I wasn't a big fan of AI before because I didn't really understand it, and I actually wasn't familiar with it. Now with the last research that I've just done, and which I was awarded the prize at ICORS a few months ago. It was the first time I used machine learning and AI in my research. So that was about having a machine learning model that could better track the scapular motion. It's always always my focus of my research, my passion. So it was really the first time I used machine learning for this research. I think everybody should start using it, even though like at the beginning it can be a bit scary because you're just feeding data into a black box, into a model that you don't understand what it's doing, and it gives you results and you still don't understand the results. But I think that's still, if you don't understand it, there's ways to understand how it works, and it's it's so powerful. It gives you results that could have taken you like a month or two to get and understand. So it is scary. It's been scary for me in the past. For my PhD, I didn't want to touch any AI, machine learning, all of this. But now I think we all need to see how we can leverage AI and machine learning for our own research.
Well, it helps you keep up too, doesn't it? You know what I mean? A figure that's really stuck in my head is the figure that in 1950, medical knowledge was doubling every 50 years. I think we're now doubling medical knowledge in a matter of months.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's crazy.
And to keep, and that is, it's just increasing and speeding up. And AI is certainly contributing to that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
If it can help you do your research faster, how good is that?
Yeah, definitely.
So, Max, someone listening to this that would like to be you, would like to be, go on that pathway to being professor of university and head of school or whatever. What advice do you have for them? How do they get to be a postdoc in a big institution?
Yeah, right.
Which is the first step, really, isn't it?
One advice that I could give is like, and that's the advice that I was given during my PhD and my postdoc is like, at the beginning when you don't know where you're going, because there's always a stage where you're still not sure where you want to go, just say yes to all of the opportunities that are in front of you. That's what I did at the beginning. I thought like, if I say yes to everything, I won't have time to do everything. I won't have time to focus on what I want to do. But that actually opened a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities to say yes to someone for a project or a chat, a talk, having a coffee with them. I think that would be my first advice. Like at the beginning, say yes, and once you've got how can I say that? Once you've got the luxury of saying no because you're really focused on something that you really want to achieve, then you can say no at this time. But at the beginning, just say yes. That's going to be my first advice. And second one is, and it's really a bit related, is be curious. Be curious about everything. About research. Always try to push your understanding of things, understand why we do things in a certain way or not, but also the opposite side of this is like understand why we do things, but also be critical about what others are doing. Yeah,
sounds like good advice.
Yeah.
So,
well, that worked for me.
What do your parents think about this? They're both GPs, did you say?
Yep.
Back in France?
Yes.
And you're over here in Brisbane, a long, long way away?
Yes.
Like almost 30-hour plane flight?
Yeah, well.
How proud of their son are they?
They were a bit sad when I decided to go to Australia, but they definitely understood my decision. I think that there's a lot more opportunities in research in Australia compared to France. France is really good in research and the excellence that they have over there. It's just the money doesn't follow. I think we've got the best of both worlds in Australia. My parents, they were not really happy with this. They they came to understand my decision, and now they're like really happy to see me like evolving in Australia and all over the world. But the good thing about research is that you're traveling a lot for to go to conferences. So there's a lot of conferences in Europe, and every time I go there, at least once or twice a year, I go and visit my parents. Mm-hmm. And that's for work. And then I also go on holidays for Christmas to spend time with them. So I still see them a lot.
What do you miss most about home?
What do I miss most? Well, family and friends, especially like my wife and I just got a baby. She's 9 months old. Wow. And so that's when it started to be a bit more difficult, just to see that my parents and friends are not seeing growing up so much. But like we try to go there a lot of times. So yeah, family and friends are the things that I miss the most.
Not the French patisseries.
Well, there are quite some good ones in Brisbane.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
As good as France?
I would say so. Definitely more expensive, but good. But really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Max. Thanks very much for coming along. It's been terrific talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation again.
All right. So the advice is just say yes to the opportunities that come up, hey?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. I would say so.
So thank you for listening to this episode of Inside the Shoulder. I'm with Max Lavaill. And please consider subscribing to this podcast on your favourite podcast platform. And of course, consider subscribing to Kenneth Cupler's YouTube channel. Thank you for listening.